here today as we talk one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media. In the description below, I put in the links. I post my artwork, and I have a Pinterest. I know a lot of people don't use Pinterest, but I do. There's so much artwork out there, and I have a lot of pins from Jim Lee, Art Adams, who does this gorgeous cover. This is part of the Marvel 25th anniversary, where they had a lot of their characters. Thor, the Fantastic Four, sort of. Five, maybe. There's Luke Cage and the Avengers and X Factor, the X-Men, other Avengers, Cap, Namor. So a lot of stuff here. So we're looking at classic X-Men number 3 from 1986. Beautiful cover by Art Adams. I just want to cover. I want to cover some of Chris Claremont's run in the X-Men, but I do want to cover everything from Giant Size X-Men all the way to the end of John Byrne's run, and then do a couple of things here and there after. So, but I think that the reason I'm doing classic X-Men is because there's so many cool things. Here's the original cover. Classic X-Men covers the X-Men 95. So here's the original cover. And there's a few changes, and that's kind of what I like from and that's why I'm using classic X-Men. This was my how I got a hold of these issues because I the originals, even back then, they were expensive, so and I couldn't afford them, and now who can? But it's still pretty cool. So the most important things for these is read them. So I have them on trades now too. So the X-Men are falling to their death, and Cyclops is wondering what to do. Now, here we have a redrawn image here. So I'm going to show you what the original looked like in a moment here, but essentially, and this is why we're doing classic X-Men. So this is part of the original, this panel here, but everything else here is brand new. It is for this. And he's basically saying, hey, these aren't the X-Men that I remember. And then he tells him, you guys shouldn't have done it. He says to this dude here that the president will never give to his insane demands. And he says, yes, he will, or I'll unleash Armageddon. And so Catman comes in and he says, everything's ready, but you're bluffing, right? Because if you do that, you're going to end the entire world. And he's like, so what? And so Catman is like worried about that. He's like, the governments will pay no matter what. This is also a new page. This was not on the original. We'll get rid of the X-Men, and Dragonfly here will, whoever gets in their way, she will hypnotize them and make them theirs. So then we go. So here is the new, then where we kind of continue on it from the original. So in the original, here's where I told you, here's Cyclops. And then there was this kind of a recap of everything that had sort of transpired, and then it goes to right here. So that extra page and a half is essentially brand new stuff. So basically Cyclops says Storm and Banshee grab Wolverine and Colossus and oh my goodness, Nightcrawler teleport. He goes, I can't teleport from here. He goes, from this height, the laws, basically he'll be killed. And then she goes that she can carry him and Colossus without a problem. So Colossus says, "Don't worry, get Wolverine instead." And he says that he'll survive the fall. And Cyclops says, "Don't worry, do it." And then he goes, he grabs Thunderbird and says, "Don't worry," or he goes, "I can't carry both of you, but I'll come back." And he goes, "That's fine, just don't be too long." So Colossus is the first to land, and boom, it's a huge crater. And here comes the other cavalry, and uh, Colossus is alive. They're all happy. And Cyclops is like, "Oh, I cannot believe I'm going to die like this." And right before he hits, Banshee gets him. And so, all right, so in this part here, he's going to, they need to get inside. And he says, Nightcrawler, go ahead and get inside. He goes, "I can't do that because I need to visualize. I need to know where I'm going to land or where I'm going to go in." And this sets up because Chris Claremont had sort of done something like that, so he went back. So this is rewritten, and I will show you what the original looked like. So we're gonna go back to a new section here that was not in the original. Dave Cockrum was still alive during this time, so he drew these. And so Banshee uses his voice to create a bit of a radar sonar so that he can find an area where Nightcrawler can go into, and then he teleports inside and then gets in. In the original, he goes, "Hey, can you go in there?" And Nightcrawler's like, "Okay," basically, and went in there. So that whole other sequence was brand new. So he goes from, "Yeah, sure, no problem," to then that other part. So Nightcrawler teleports inside and is hit by Croaker. And he says, "Man, I hit you really hard. I can't believe you got up." He goes, "I'm not just an ordinary man." And says, "And if Fire wants you dead," and he says, "You're going to have to do a better job than that." Keeps calling him Frog, and which of course gets him angry. He says, "I'm a man, not a mutant like you." Of course, he's been genetically altered, so I don't know what he's arguing about, but whatever. And eventually Nightcrawler beats him. And Count Nefarious says, "Man, I can't believe he didn't ask for help." And then, "That's all right. I have other surprises for them." So Nightcrawler opens up. He doesn't see that the frog guy is gone. And Nightcrawler opens, and the X-Men go in, and they're going, "Man, is it hot? It's getting hot in here." And there's a gas. And so Cyclops orders that they smash their way through. And here come the soldiers and shooting at them. The soldiers are hypnotized. And Storm washes the gas away and then is able to get rid of the soldiers at the same time. She says that the soldiers won't bother them anymore. And then we get a brand new page. So this page was just for this. He says that we got Thunderbird here saying he'll take lead. And Cyclops says it's Wolverine is doing it and to stay with the team. And he's like, "I'm as good as Scout." And then Cyclops reminds him that Wolverine was stationed here. He knows the way around. And he says, "I'm part of this team too." And Cyclops says, "Then you won't mind following my lead." And then, of course, he gets inner monologue because he lost his temper. He hates being boss. And even though Cyclops was right about the Wolverine, he still fought him on that. He wants to contribute to be, to be something. But I was just upset that everything that he can do, the other ones seem to do better. So this page is new. And like I said, it went from then this page to this page in the original. So that page that was in there in the middle was brand new. And as a way to add insult to injury, or is it injury to insult, the ape man is Gort here, lands on Thunderbird and throws him toward Banshee, and then here comes all the animal men, or the Annie men, and the X-Men fight. And we can see a little back and forth between them, but the Catman also has his own claws, and Colossus saves Wolverine. So, got a bit of her, like I said, fighting. But eventually the X-Men will be victorious because, hey, this is an X-Men comic book. I like this part, just showing the eye. So they got 18 minutes till that device goes off. So Banshee and Thunderbird out cold, so they're going to go see if they can put a stop to this. Nefaria has locked the system, so they don't seem to be able to stop it. So Thunderbird and Banshee are getting up, sees the mess, and figure they missed the fight. But here's Nefaria then running away, and Thunderbird and Banshee see him, and he's going to escape. And Thunderbird says, "No, you're not," and jumps in. Here's the thing: he's very proud. Proud Star is an appropriate name for him. That's part of the reasons why that stuff was written in there. They wanted to give him more than just that moment. They really wanted to set it up that he just was troubled inside. He wanted to help. And Banshee is like, "Please get off the plane. I can stop him." So Wolverine's like, "We got to get away." And Cyclops is like, "And go where, man? I got 5 minutes. Or how far are we going to get?" Professor X says that he scanned the system mentally. I don't know how you can do that, but hey, it's comic books. Don't overthink it. In the battle with the Animen, the system was destroyed, so it's safe. And to go outside because basically Thunderbird's in danger, and Thunderbird is going after Count Nefaria. He's asking John to please get off the airplane before too late. And here's the part that is kind of the most important part, that he's been a loner his whole life, an outcast, dumped on by everybody, but he's a man, a warrior of the Apache, and he's going to prove it. Banshee's pleading with him to please get off, and it blows up, and Thunderbird has passed, and he was killed in the explosion. And Charles Xavier felt it telepathically. And Banshee's like, I try to get off. He wouldn't. He just says it wasn't your fault. And this can happen to any of us. And he comes with the uniform. And ends the story. But, because it is classic X-Men, there is a backup story. So this takes place, and this is what I like about classic X-Men that you just cannot get in the original. We get a little story here. Basically, it's the funeral, which we never had anything. These backups are great. I recommend, if you see a classic X-Men issue and you're a fan of the X-Men, pick them up. About the first 30 issues had backup stories. After that, it does not, although some did have great covers by Mike Mignola, so worth it just for that. But here's Jean Grey, and there's a Jean Grey telepathically heard a cry, and the X-Men, it says it's Colossus, and he's like, somebody has stolen Thunderbird's body, and they're like, it's desecration, and so they're gonna call the police. The priest was, and they're like, we'll find him, and then these are his parents, and they're like, we appreciate, but they don't need to do anything, and just to leave him alone, and so they're very hurt. So Wolverine is going to find him, and Cyclops is like, Thunderbird's parents asked us not to find the body. He says, then stay. We take care of our own. And Storm says, even though she doesn't like his manner, agrees. So off they go. They're all gonna see what they can do. So he's following the scent, and then here's Banshee, and Banshee's doing his sonic scream. Of course, he is just so upset that of everything that had happened that led to Thunderbird's death. So Nightcrawler's complaining about the heat, but they're all looking. They're kind of remembering certain things about Thunderbird, how he trained, how he was always just trying to be the best, and they want to know why he's just so angry. He just says, everybody here is so great. Everybody here is so much better than me, and he feels like he can't contribute. So then they ask him, why is he staying? And he's like, I don't know. And he says he guesses just because he's got nowhere to go. I love these insights. You just don't get that in the original X-Men. So it's just really cool. So I really do like the classic Storm creates a little storm to try to make him a little better. And then she's also remembering Thunderbird. So basically he goes to her room. So she goes, I didn't hear you. And she says, I wasn't meant to. He's trying to be as sneaky as Wolverine. And she's like, why are you always trying to compete? And he's like, well, he's the best. He's the man to beat. And so he makes, she's like wondering, about his life. And he's like, it wasn't special. I couldn't wait to leave. And I missed it with all his heart the moment, he did. Asked if he has family and friends. He says, family, sure. Friends, and then he questions it. He left them in the jungle, meaning Vietnam. And he says, if there's loved ones, are girls to cherish or kids to raise? And he says, never. So he was really lonely. So eventually, though, we do find that his brother is the one that took the body, and Wolverine had found him, and he finds a like a box with his some stuff in there, and a picture of him in Vietnam with his friends. And so Wolverine kind of ponders a little bit as well. But then just, there's the medal and all that. He leaves, and then he finds the other X-Men. He says, let's go. Nothing here, just a boy laying his big brother to rest the old ways. And he's at peace now. And of course, the brother's like, someday you will be avenged. It's going to take a long time, though, because this kid does become Warpath. Warpath, of course, is a member of X-Force. So that's who this kid will be. But it will take a long time before this happens. But, of course, it had already happened when Chris Claremont wrote this. So, anyway, so classic X-Men. Oh, and here's the original back cover. So this issue had no ads, so everything was cover to cover. And John Bolton, by the way, was the artist of the backup feature. So hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.